All right, the season is over, and I am a disc golf anime protagonist because I am going to break down my year in disc golf into four arcs. I looked over my whole year. I've kind of whittled it down into a digestible form, which is right here. Okay? We have four arcs. Arc number one is I am going to play open. Arc 2, spoiler alert, is back to MA1. Arc 3 is time to improve. And Arc 4 is back to open. We come full circle over the course of a year, although we are much higher than when we started. Let's talk about it. So let's just go through all the tournaments. The prelude to all of this is that sanction leagues do nothing for me. I think sanction leagues are awesome. I think they're a great way for casual people to get into the sport, to be able to play sanction when they can't have weekends away at B tiers where they're playing 3 rounds. It's a fantastic way to get a sanction round in, to be a rated player on a Tuesday night. However, for me, I can't put enough preparation into it, and without preparation, I crash and burn. That's all it is. I take it, it's just way too casual for me, and maybe I don't have enough practice to be consistent when I'm playing casually. But I mean, I think back to a round on that league where we had to make an island. I made the island, and I was talking to someone while making my putt, and I missed. And that happened during a sanction round. I missed a putt because I was talking to someone and wasn't looking while I was putting a tap in. I mean, if that doesn't say what those rounds were to me this year, then I don't know what else to say. But yeah, they didn't do much for me. I'm not going to really talk about them other than that. I'm not going to probably do them next year, other than maybe once or twice. Okay, arc number one is I'm going to play open. I went into this year thinking I went from MA3 to MA1. I hadn't won a tournament yet, but I got close a couple times. It's time to play open. So I started off the first one actually playing advanced. So Frommer Woods Meltdown. Not much to say about this. It was a 1 round at Frommer Woods. I played not great, but whatever. It was a 20 rated round. 922, nothing crazy, not much to say about it. It was an okay start to the year, and there was a lot more to come, so I wasn't thinking about it too much. I was just happy to be out and playing disc golf. Round 2, or tournament 2, we have Surprise of the Fools, and I said, I can play open, kinda. So let's look at Surprise of the Fools. Round ratings, round 1, 923. Not terrible, just about where I played last year, so good space to end off. I'm in open. I obviously thought I'd be playing better, but you have to remember I lived at this point in the city of Rochester, and I had not really figured out a good way to practice putting at that time when I was living there, so I really wasn't practicing my putting. And you also have to remember I was there for the entire winter, and there was nowhere for me to practice putting in the winter. There's no putting league. I didn't have a garage. I didn't have anything, so I didn't practice putting I didn't touch a disc. I didn't put a disc in a basket for 6 months, pretty much 6 or 7 months. So that was detrimental. My putting was not great. I wasn't confident in that regard, and it took me a while to get it back. Because I remember, actually, in my first year, I was living with my parents for some of that, and I was able to practice putting all the time, and my putting felt really good. And that's something that I felt like fell off for the portion of this year. But round 2, I ended up shooting +2, which the pars were a little off, so it was kind of basically just shooting even, and I shot better than all but 3 people in the open field for this tournament. So it wasn't like a crazy field. No one shot over 1,000, but I felt like I was doing okay, and that, maybe in the future I can cash in open. Okay, tournament number 3. The next one, Rock City Open. Sometimes I don't play so well. What do you mean, Tyler? Well, Rock City Open. This was just rough conditions. It was cold. It was windy. I remember putting on hole 18 to start off. I actually started on hole 1, and I thought I was going to do well. My putting felt good, and man, I just got super nervous, and I did not play well. It was not a good tournament for me. Round ratings were fine, 929 and 929 back to back. Not like I played that bad, but I could have done so much better, and I didn't. So Aberdeen Glass Open, Doomsday. Aberdeen Glass Open. That tournament, I I had never been so mad at myself, and this was a big turning point for me because I got so mad at myself that it was detrimental. I mean, look at that. I derailed my round. Nothing about this tournament was good. Nothing. It was all terrible. The conditions weren't great. I don't think they were that bad though. It was raining in the last round, and I remember it was B tier, so there was a third round, and it was pouring rain and freezing cold, and I wasn't having fun, and I played terrible. And looking back, it's almost embarrassing how upset I was with myself because I just played terrible. And it was I could have shot 10 strokes better if I just kept a cool head, but this was at the point where I was still holding on to hope to playing an Open for the whole year, and this killed it for me. I remember after this tournament, I went on to Disc Golf Scene and changed my registration for every tournament to Advanced because I wasn't doing Open. And that brings us to Arc 2, which is back to MA1. This is actually a really interesting start to MA1. I came out swinging after one round, tied for 8th at 8 down on the bomber course, the ones I do best at, 984. I did fantastic. I was so happy. I was like, all I got to do is play the woods. I felt good in practice. Still shot under par, which I think this is one of the few tournaments I had under par for all rounds. But 883, not good. Did not play well. It was beautiful conditions, perfect conditions. I just didn't play well. I got a little unlucky in like 1 or 2 holes, but again, I got way too upset with myself. This theme of not keeping a cool head was definitely hurting me. But it was a huge shining moment, so it was something to look at and see as something to chase after and something that I am capable of doing, and I don't think it was a fluke. I think it was just me doing a lot of things right. Chai Life Flex start. Yeah, what happened? What happened, Tyler? I shot plus 14. I mean, this is going to be, we say in the conclusion here, need to take every tournament serious. This was a flex start I signed up for. I signed up for a lot of tournaments this year. I don't think I had to play as many as I did. And some of the ones I showed up to, I just phoned it in. I had to be somewhere right after this, so I didn't play well at all. I was ready to go as soon as it was over. And playing poorly and it being windy definitely didn't help. This was just terrible. It was awful. Yeah, plus 14, not good. Shore One Shootout. So let's just run through these because there's not that much to say about these. Shore One Shootout, super windy. I don't know what it was. Maybe I'm just not used to the wind. I feel like I would do a lot better now, but I just struggled. I struggled hard. Tree Direction Disc Golf Open, another kind of rainy tournament. Bond is still hard to play. Not getting that much better. Or no, Tree Direction Disc Golf Open. Emory is still hard. And it's not getting better. This was not a great tournament for me. Chili Willy Weekend, another Chai Life Flex start. Didn't play well. Lakeside Life is good. At this point, I actually did okay. Round 1 on, I believe we played round 1 on Windrush. Whatever it was, round 1 was okay. We played the Blues at whatever course we played. I think we played Windrush Blues. So, a year before this-ish, I shot even at Windrush Alley Whites. And now I'm shooting -1 at a way harder layout, which is Windrush Alley Blues. So, doing way better, okay? So, even though it wasn't a great tournament, I did significantly better than the year previous. And I actually felt pretty good. I was like, okay, this is the best I'd played at this course on a way harder layout. I didn't do great. I think at that tournament I lost a disc too and took a lost disc stroke or something. It wasn't great, but I still did okay. Western New York Amateur Championships, rounds 1 and 2 were bad. They were really bad. I remember being super upset with myself after them. But round 3 I came back. I shot 925 or something and did okay. And I think having that was kind of good for me because that brings us into Arc 3, which is Time to Improve. So this is a short little arc where I play. This is a 3 tournament arc. The next 2 are just 3 tournament arcs. So it's getting towards the end of the season. Not as many tournaments. We have these fall tournaments, and then these sort of fall going into winter tournaments. But these are the big ones. BFDO played pretty decent. Headed the DNF in the last part of the round. Wasn't feeling good. but I played like okay. It was fine. I probably would have had a good third round. RFDO, I think at Parma I played like okay, not great, and then at Shadow Pines I actually played pretty good. And then Share the Love did really good round one. Round two wasn't good, and like I said, that happened before. It happens. I was up there on lead card and just screwed up, but it's whatever. It wasn't the worst. And then we're on to Arc 4, which is back to Open. I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to play Open again. I feel really good. I've been practicing. Winter is coming. Not the worst. Super windy. And of course, I know pretty well, or at least I knew pretty well a year ago, but now my bag and my play style has changed and everything's different. So I'm throwing mids on holes that I used to throw like fairways on and stuff. So that's good. So it wasn't terrible, but I, at this tournament, woke up at 7 a.m. the day before the tournament, drove to Buffalo, practiced the course, did not sleep at all. And when I'm saying like I didn't sleep, I'm not saying I laid in bed and get like 2 hours of sleep. I legitimately never fell asleep. Then I played the whole tournament, and then I drove back to Rochester, and I fell asleep at 8 p.m. But all in all, I crashed the second round. I was just out of energy. Don't ask how I drove home. I was so pumped full of adrenaline, I legitimately still couldn't sleep. It was insane. But yeah, I mean, not the worst tournament. I did okay. I shot under par the first round, but like, could have done better. Whatever, I didn't have sleep. Autumn Bond, little more sleep for this one. Still not a ton, probably like 6 hours, maybe 5 hours. Tough in the wind, but round two, I actually kind of pulled it together and had a respectable round, so I'm not terrible. And Tyrannosaurus Flex is finally to end the year after Chili Willy weekend, after Chili Flex start, after just horrible rounds at Chili. Last year, having a bad round at Chili to end the year. I'm pretty sure RFDO at the end of last year was played at Chili, and I don't think I did very well there. I finally had not only a respectable round, but my best round of the year. An even par round with 2 birdies and 2 bogeys. Couldn't quite get birdies, but it was like a respectable round. I held myself together. I stayed cool. And if we look back at these, like some of these tournaments in here, after I played really well at this one tournament, I just got really mad at myself. Kind of down here, I started to like cool off, figure stuff out, and like keep a more level head. So my final thoughts about all of this, and I'll add one more, which is, and it kind of is part of the first thought already here, but it is learned how to stay cool. Learn how to stay cool, or more specifically, I learned how to like not get upset at myself at bad results for certain holes or shots, and to just say, you know what, if one bad shot changes my entire mentality, it changes my whole tournament. But if one bad shot doesn't do anything to me mentally, it just changes that one shot and adds 1 stroke to my score or 2 strokes to my score or whatever, instead of adding like 10 or 20, right? Obviously that's extreme, but you know what I mean. Like, you get upset mentally and it derails your whole round. So lots of improvement in a year. Thinking back, all the way back to Surprise the Fools, I'm going to skip over Farmer Woods because that was like, whatever. Thinking about Surprise the Fools when I was trying to play Open, all of that. Even though that was like one of my best, 950, I think that second round was. It was rough conditions. I played better than a lot of people in that round. Even though it was a good round for me, I still feel like I'm way better now than I was then. And that if I could take me now and send me to that tournament with my current skill and my current practice levels and play in that exact same tournament, I would do way better. So that's really good. I feel like I've improved a lot. It's crazy that it's only been 1 year. And then, add on that other year before that. It hasn't even been 2 full years of playing, and I'm feeling like I've improved a lot. It doesn't show on the overall rating. I had, like I said, those sanctioned leagues just didn't help. A lot of bad rounds in the flex starts, so it's only a 919 rating. But I think by next year, once some of these rounds drop out and some new ones add on, this will be up closer to 940, 950. I think that's going to be, I'd be very surprised if it wasn't. And hopefully it goes even higher because I can shoot above 940 and 950 soon. I learned a lot. I guess that kind of goes with learn how to stay cool. I learned a lot. I learned, there's not much to say. I just learned a lot. I'll talk about that more in future videos, but I've learned a lot. I need to take every tournament serious. So, like I said, with the sanction leagues, with the flex starts, with the tournaments I showed up to and didn't get sleep, I need to go into tournaments knowing my, am I going to get sleep? Do I have certain stuff going on? What can I do? Like, I need to go into every tournament with a good schedule, with a good routine, taking it serious, practicing leading up to it, having my putting honed in. I can't be phoning it in for tournaments. I need to stay focused in the off season, so that means not touching a disc for 7 months, right? Like putting at least 3-4 times a week in my garage for the entire off season, so that when I come back, my putter is ready to go. And then doing work with a camera, with a speed gun, getting my power up, like making sure everything feels good so that I don't have to relearn things essentially, or get back to where I was at, because I've done so much over this season. But going into the start of this season, I felt like I regressed a little bit without having practiced for an entire off season. And next year is going to be big. I mean, that's all I got to say. I know everything I need to know to go into it. I feel a lot better. We had some glimpses of 950, 960, 980 round. Okay, like it's there, right? So there's a lot for me to do. I think next year is going to be huge. I have a lot that I need to focus on in the off season, but I'm going to keep my head pointed in the right direction. I'm going to keep my mind in a good place, and I'm really hoping next year will be a big year for me. And you know what? I'm not saying hoping in this. I'm saying next year will be big. It's going to be big. I want to do a lot with this channel, and I want to do a lot with my showing at tournaments next year in my practice. So look forward to that. Look forward to more videos. I can't play disc golf now, so I mean I can, but I'm not going to be playing nearly as much. It gets dark after work, so I can only really play like on the weekends, and even then it's cold and snowy, so I'll be making more videos. I'm going to try to stay engaged in that way, so be on the lookout for that. And yeah, that's my year.